Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and welcome to Soul Sunday. For those of you who haven't watched the broadcast before, what we do on Soul Sundays is we read out some soulful quotes, and then we see what comes up for people while we're doing that. So welcome to everybody. And hi, Beth. Good to see you. One of the things that I want you all to understand is that every week we're in a slightly different place from the week before, but on a Sunday, we try to sort of regroup and get ourselves ready for the upcoming week. And that's why I love to do a Soul Sunday. And join us, and feel free to either participate quietly on the outside or join into the chat, whichever you prefer. Hi there, Isabel. And Jody and Kerry. Welcome. All right, so today I found some quotes that I hope will make some meaningful sense to you. I just want the viewers to know that we have a couple of our much loved viewers who are dealing with suddenly cancer diagnoses in their family. And, that's a horrible shock for anybody. And so part of what I wanted to do today was to acknowledge them and tell them that we're thinking of them. And hopefully some of these quotes will find a spot for them as well. The first one was, being loved by someone gives you strength, while loving someone deeply gives you courage. How many of you found that in your life, that being deeply loved gives you strength, but deeply loving somebody gives you courage? And, there's a subtle difference in that. I personally found that deeply loving somebody turned me into an emotional pretzel, but that's my stuff. I think I've learned a lot since those days. Dr. Zeus said, and I think it's beautiful, you're in love when you can't fall asleep because the reality is finally better than your dreams. Hi there, UK. Good to see you. Elvira, right? Good to see you. Whereabouts in the UK? Obviously, and my accent will never, ever hide the fact that I'm from there originally. I don't care what I do to change it. It's always going to be pretty obvious that's where I came from. Well, actually, I was born in Holland, but I was brought up by British parents. So. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek to find all barriers within yourself that you have built up against it. How many of you have found that the real secret to being in love is that, hi Nolene, the real secret to being in love is you need to let down a lot of your barriers to be able to do that, to trust, to think the best again. Yeah, Beth saying love is supposed to be like that all the time with your partner. Love gives naught but itself, and takes naught but from itself. Love possesses not and would not be possessed, for love is sufficient into love. Now, some of you probably have heard that quote in weddings. It came from The Prophet by Gilbert. The interesting thing there is love gives nothing but itself, right? Love does not possess. Anybody who wants to possess you, own you, control you, that is not love. Because love, being with you, is enough. People who think a soulmate is your perfect fit, and that's what everybody wants. But a true soulmate is a mirror, a person who shows you everything that is holding you back. The person who brings you to your own attention so you can change your life. And that came from that great movie, Eat, Pray, Love. How many of you saw that movie? I've always said that what I love is the feeling that I get when I'm around somebody that I love. It's not what they give me, it's what I feel that I love. How many of you can relate to that? How about this one? The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul set on fire. How many of you have felt that passion when nothing is going to stop you because you are just so passionate about doing something? And I think that's a very important thing to remember. Have any of you felt that motivation where it didn't matter what anybody said about what you were doing, whether they thought you were insane for trying to do it, whatever comments they had, you didn't really care because you were on a mission. And I would wish you all that passion this week. Those who danced were thought to be quite insane by those who could not hear the music. Right? And isn't that the truth, right? That the people that criticize you the most are the people that don't have the vision that you have of what your life could be or is likely to be. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself, what makes you come alive? And then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. Beth, I keep thinking about that person in your life that criticized the fact that you took the job that you did. But, would it be true to say that taking that job has made you feel more alive than you've been in a long time? And regardless of what other people think, how does that feel for you? It's just like, wow. Jody, I was thinking about, the weight that you've lost, and I'm so proud of you for doing what you have. But I'm thinking, the fact that you know that what you're doing must also be losing the fluid that has dogged you for these last few years. It must be so exhilarating at some level. And I just wondered, what that feeling is like for you. Does it inspire you to do even more arm rolls? Does it I think you said that you can even start feeling, that nerves starting to tingle again in your feet. Well, isn't that beautiful? Jody's saying that whenever she and Lionel have an argument, they say to each other, I may not like your behavior right now, but I love you always. Isn't that a beautiful thing? How many of you wish your parents had said that rather than I brought you into this life, I can take you out? So I would encourage you to say these words to the people around you, even when you're frustrated with them. Hey, I may not like what you're saying right now, but I need you to know that I will love you always. Good. And Jody's saying, yes, Sal, it's giving me momentum to keep moving forward in my health issues and habits. Yes, I want to tell you something. It was so strange, Jody, because for some of you who don't know, I was recently diagnosed with diabetes, and I've been, working at changing my life eating habits rather than doing a diet. And, it is amazing that you can see what is happening to my health. Not that it's going downhill, but my weight went up, and now it's just going down, 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 very slowly and very steadily. But the good news is, obviously what I'm doing is working, and it's working even though we had Christmas in between. It's working even though I, wasn't able to go out and walk for a couple of weeks because it was dangerous with the snow. So I'm very inspired to keep doing what I'm doing, even though, funnily enough, I don't know if any of you have had a day like that. Yesterday, for some reason, I felt like I kept going for carbs rather than healthy food. And I kept balancing it out because I know how to do that now. But it was just like, wow, my body needs carbs again. And I just, hope that somebody can tell me why I get days like that. But it was really weird. It was like, I wasn't craving grapes or avocado. It was like, what can I have? That satisfies my craving right now. It was really a weird day, but I stuck in there and kept doing, as I said, kept balancing out what I was eating, and still managed to make it. So I was very proud of myself. We must be willing to let go of the life we have planned, so as to have a life that is waiting for us. Okay, so Beth is asking me a very technical question. Hi, Nyasha. She's asking me, how do you know it is a need for carbs rather than a want for carbs? I would say, Beth, that my feeling about it was that I was, would go for healthy food, but at the end of it, I didn't feel that I had eaten. I still needed something. And it was really strange. But you understand, even my carb foods, I am pretty careful with. Some of you know that I have, for example, taken my flour and mixed it in with half regular flour, half gluten-free flour. And, that is what I found really helpful for me, so that even if I have crepes, and which was one of the things I had yesterday, even if I have crepes, they are that much healthier crepes than they would have been before. Yeah, and that's why I am drinking a mix today, Beth. Beth is saying, because sometimes she's hungry, but she's really thirsty. And that's why today you see me drinking something that's pretty healthy rather than my usual coffee. Yes, Beth saying, I don't understand when you say balancing it out. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm trying to, whatever happens in my day, I'm trying to keep my carbs under 50% in balance. So I understand that you have got to the stage where you can actually have zero carbs, and that is wonderful. How long have you been doing that, by the way? Yeah, it's interesting. Jody's saying, that one of the most successful habits that you've seen in me is that you do happen to have a day that's full of carbs. You don't let them turn into 3 or 4 days of that. No, I right. I really do. I'm and the other thing is, I'm going, if that's what you want to eat, if that's, if you, then you just need to eat more cheese and you need more boiled eggs. You've got, just do whatever it takes to get those carbs back balanced to less than 50%. I I am really pleased to say that I can feel the difference in a lot of ways. May not be perfect, but it's definitely working. So I must be doing something right. The world is full of people who have stopped listening to themselves or have listened only to their neighbors to learn what they ought to do, how they ought to behave, and what values they should be living. How many of you are living your life on your terms, not on somebody else's? Nolene, I want to tell you something. It is amazing when you find out, just how many carbs you are eating. I think it's the same thing. You know, Beth got herself a new fancy watch this week. And one of the things I'm interested in is what she's finding out about her sleep pattern. For those of you who don't know, my goal at the moment is to average 7 hours sleep a night. And I cannot tell you how challenged I am. For some reason last night, my mind did not want to turn off, and I was still awake at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, oh, and then I was still awake at 6. And 6 is a difficult time because you're going, is it even worth going to sleep now? You know, should I just stay awake? And I went, no. Even if you only get 5 hours or 4 hours, get some sleep. And that's what I did. And I must admit, I'm glad that I did because, you know, at least I started the process of getting enough sleep for tonight. Obviously, tonight I will do everything in my power not to stay up all night again. I've got a busy week this week, so probably that is on my mind at some subconscious level. So these are some quotes on beauty. It says, beauty awakens the soul to act. Life is full of beauty. Notice it. Notice the bumblebee. Notice the small child and the smiling faces. Smell the rain and feel the wind. Live your life to the fullest potential and fight for your dreams. Anne Frank said, I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. How about that for somebody who was blind, right? And survived the Nazi regime. You know, absolutely amazing, right? I don't think of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. Beauty saves, beauty heals, beauty motivates, beauty unites, beauty returns us to our origins. And here lies the ultimate act of saving, of healing, of overcoming dualism. And beauty, by the way, is what you perceive it to be. I'm not talking about physical beauty. I'm talking about the beauty you choose to see in things and people. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love to be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Yes, how many of you have found that when you awaken your soul to music or art or anything that requires right brain, that your life just gets a lot better? And we got a couple of quotes here on facing fear, which I know a couple of the viewers are doing at the moment. You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. And that was Eleanor Roosevelt. And I would encourage those of you who have got members of your family or people that you love that are struggling with illnesses. Make sure every day that you have told them everything you want to tell them. And make sure that every day you have told them how much they mean to you. So that if they are suddenly taken from you, you will never feel, I wish I had told them something. Yes, Beth is saying, music lights me up. I'm more energized. I smile, I dance, I sing in my car. I love getting in my car. It's my happy place. Yes, how many of you find that? It's really strange. I used to write my speeches in the car because I find there was, I could actually activate my second brain, as I called it. And I literally would drive around speaking as though I were in front of a live audience because I could. And it was incredible. Nolene is saying that her mother is 89 and frail, and every day I fear she won't get up. Yes. And, the same thing is every day we need to give thanks for the fact that we did. Okay? Death is not the biggest fear we have. The biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive. The risk to be alive and express who we really are. How many of you are finding that you're getting stronger on that one? I am not a perfect person, but I am a good one. And this is who I am. And I don't need everybody to like me. I just need to know who I am. And not constantly be trying to hide it. Not constantly be trying to pretend that I am a better, stronger, whatever person. Yeah, that is awesome. Fear arises through identification with form, whether it be material possession, a physical body, a social role, a self-image, a thought, or an emotion. It arises through the unawareness of the formless, inner dimension of the conscious spirit, which is the essence of who you are. You are trapped in object consciousness, unaware of the dimensions of inner space, which alone is true freedom. I really know that's pretty deep, but the truth is, when you are true to yourself, you will feel it at a soul level. When people are nasty to you, you don't take it personally. Niesha, I'm not answering you because you asked me not to, so just know that I am reading what you say. I'm not making any input because you asked me not to. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside somewhere where they can be quiet, alone, with the heavens, with nature, and with God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quiet, alone, with the heavens, nature, and God. Because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. I cannot encourage you enough to get outside of your environment, to go and see something outside your four walls. That really doesn't really matter what the weather's doing or anything else, just to get outside the framework that traps us and maybe take a moment to go and sit and watch ducks in a pond, to watch birds that might still be flying or trying to fly at this time of the year, to watch the crocuses battling their way out, to watch the daffodils starting to form buds. There is something about seeing that will change your view on life. And it balances out, if you like, the negativity that we face. By the way, that quote was from Anne Frank again. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. So many people seem to find strength through misery. I wonder if you know anybody like that. They appear to be happier when they're complaining, when there's always something wrong. It's never a good day. Have you met people like that? It's like, as I said, it's almost like they get strength through their own misery. And instead of looking for the good in every day. Yes, Beth is saying, in terms of that last quote from Anne Frank, I suggest going and standing out in the rain. I feel completely cleansed from God. It's beautiful. I make a point, Beth, of going out in the rain without an umbrella and literally slowing my pace, even if I'm just going to my car. And I don't rush to get there so I don't get wet. I actually know it's just rain and it's beautiful. And I don't have to rush and possibly slip and fall. I can just take my time and walk in the rain. Rain is not, something that's going to hurt me. What is the worst that it can do? I keep thinking, well, it could mess with my hair. Well, that's ego stuff. And from my experience, if you walk slowly in the rain, 9 times out of 10, it does not spoil your hair at all. Because, if you don't rush and you just literally take your time to get to your car, you get in the car and your hair dries exactly the same as it was. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. That came from the Dalai Lama. You see, when we stop judging everybody, when we take the time to actually have compassion for others. I make, I think some of you know, I make a point when people cut me off when I'm driving of saying, gosh, they must be in a bigger hurry than I am. They have not learned to pace their day the way that I have. And they probably think that time stands still for them, and then they find out it doesn't. And that's why they're now in a hurry and causing chaos on the road. And I make a point of just slowing down and letting them in and letting them be, grateful for the fact that I no longer drive like that. I've always said, if you want to know how your mental health is, you are the way you drive your car. And Beth is saying, you can't be completely without judgment. It's impossible. I want to tell you, I agree with you, Beth. Just for me, I can't speak for anybody else, but I work very hard at trying to be without judgment, but I know that I judge every day. I sometimes fear that I judge every minute. And so, but that doesn't stop me from trying to be more compassionate. That doesn't stop me from trying to see the best on both sides. I don't get it right all the time, Beth, and I think I've never claimed to do that. I'm just constantly trying to take one step more in the right direction. Happiness is not a matter of intensity, but of balance, order, rhythm, and harmony. Beth is saying she feels like she needs to be judgmental to her employees. That would be your choice. I'm not sure I totally agree with you, but I understand what you're saying. You set very high standards and you want those standards kept. So therefore, you sit in judgment of their behavior against your standard. So I understand what you're saying. True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. On peace, got a couple of quotes on that. The most valuable possession you can own is an open heart. The most powerful weapon you can be is an instrument of peace. So I look at that and go, how many of you can see that? That the most powerful weapon that we have is the ability to create peace. You know, Beth, one of the interesting things, you say that some people come in time after time and make the same mistake time after time after time. There has to be a reason for that. I had one person, Beth, in my life that I was responsible for, and I found that she was telling lies to customers. And it was really interesting because I actually went to her and I apologized. And I said, obviously, I didn't give you the correct training because I understand you're telling clients that, 1 and 1 makes 3, and it doesn't. It only makes 2. So I want to make sure that we retrain you so that you can be, solid on that. And not only did I retrain her, Beth, but I also had her write a test to make sure that she knew the right answers to those questions. And then, Beth, the most incredible thing was that even after all of that, and by the way, I logged it in her file that we had done that. And even after that, she did exactly the same thing the next week. And I called her in and I said, you just repeated the same thing, which tells me you did it intentionally. Not that it was an error of not a lack of knowledge, because you've already proven, and we have it in writing, that you know the correct answers. So now this is at a whole different level. You intentionally told a lie. And I am afraid that that is not something that I can tolerate, with the company values that I have. So I will give you a choice, which is, give it some thought over the weekend and decide whether you want to resign or whether you want me to fire you. That is the choice. Yes, Beth saying, when they are late, it affects me more than them. It affects everybody when they are late. I agree, Nolene. It's very hard not to judge people. But what do you do when they come in late? Do you just seethe and get, angry inside? Or do you literally, write it down, so they can, just go, okay, Jane, that's 10 minutes late again. And what is your reason today? And literally make a point of recording how often they are late and their reasons for it. And, if you are consistent on that, you either have the grounds to not employ them or they will start being aware. All right, I'm not a store manager. She doesn't care if they are late. Right, you see, and Beth can just stay. Well, here are 2 things on that one. All right. If you're not the store manager, then you're allowing this person to affect your day, Beth. I understand why they do, but you do see that, right? That their behavior affects your day. And the second part of your comment here is that the store manager says Beth can stay, in other words, to cover. And here is my point. That is what you have taught them. You have taught them that you will stay. So be aware of that, all right? It's like if they are abusing your hours because of somebody else being late, you need to just think about that. Right. And Beth is saying, I will be on March the 2nd and I won't put up with it. I'm not a doormat. Yes, you don't have to be nasty, Beth. You don't have to be judgmental. It's just factual. My friend Marnie, for those of you who've met Marnie, always says that her daddy used to say to her, be fair, friendly, and factual, I think. And so this is just a thing. Okay, Jane, I see you're in 10 minutes late again, so I'm just going to write that down. What is your reason today, please? Yes, and they will get that, Beth. And does the company have a policy? And if so, be clear on that and go, I know nobody's held up this policy for you, but I just need to tell you the company policy is if you are late 3 times, in a row, my job is to fire you and replace you with somebody who can be on time. So you get to have a choice now. Do you want to be a part of the team? And if so, please start coming in on time. You don't have to be angry and you don't have to be nasty. Is that in a lifetime, Beth? Beth is saying after 3 lates, you get fired. Yes, so make sure, that when you're the manager, you go over the rules again. That's one of the things I would do and say, hey, I know you've had a manager that didn't go by the company rules, but I want to tell you that I will be doing everything I can to keep to the company rules. And just in case you've forgotten them, these are the ones I want you to be very aware of. The company policy is if you are late 3 times in a week or whatever, yes, if you are late, I'm going to be writing that in your file. And if you are late 3 times in, a certain space of time, I need to let you go. That's the company policy. Because your lack of time management will affect other people's stress levels. And that's why we need everybody to be aware. By the way, if you need help getting up, 3 times is warning enough. I'm saying, is that in a lifetime or is that in a week or a month or a year? It can't just be 3 times and you're fired, because you could have somebody that was in 3 different car accidents in the course of their lifetime and get fired for that, which I don't believe is what the policy is. 3 times in a month. All right. Now, is that without any justification? Because again, I am pretty certain that there are reasons why some people might be late 3 times in a month without being a bad employee. You know what I'm saying? So I would be, I would, what I would do is talk to the staff about that. Do they think that's a fair policy? Right. Late without calling, unless it's a good excuse. Who judges whether it's a good excuse? I would have the team judge it. You know what I mean? So that you're not the one being the nasty person, and that they can see that the other people feel the same way. Hi, Kimmy. If we have no peace, Mother Teresa said, it's because we've forgotten that we belong to each other. I guess I would, ask the other viewers who have ever worked in their lives, there are some people who think that 10 minutes late is on time. Have you worked with people like that? To them, they have no perception of time management. They think that's, on time means, 15, 20 minutes, that's okay. So again, Beth, if your idea of late is, it says 9 o'clock, I mean 9 o'clock. I don't mean 5 after. 5 after is late. So, and you all have my number if you are running late for whatever reason. Right. So they come in and say nothing. And that's what I would change, Beth. And I know you're going to do that. I would not let them crawl in and say nothing. I would go, Jane, come here a second, please. And I would say it so the other staff hear it. And I go, I see you're late again. Could I have your excuse for today, please? You know, and literally make a deal of it, because the other staff will hear that you are not tolerating that behavior without bringing it up and saying, I'm sorry to have to do this, but this was your choice to be late, you know, unless it was something that was worthwhile, and therefore I need to write you up. You know, I would give somebody a warning that you're going to start doing that and you're not going to mess around, so that they know it's coming. You know, when you have a change of manager, it takes the staff a little while to get used to the new rules. Yes, all you want is to be on time and be ready to work when your shift starts. Okay, so that is not pitch up at 9. It is be here at 8:45, so that you can be, you know, have your coat off and everything else and ready to work at 9. Is that what you're saying? Make sure you tell the difference on that one, Beth. All right, because for some people, being on time is I walk through the door at 9. So make sure they understand the rules. The best way to get them to understand the rules, in my suggestion, Beth, is to actually type them out and have everybody receive a copy, 2 copies, and get them to sign that they understand it. In other words, say, if there are any questions, ask them now so that I can answer them. But now I'd like you to sign that you understand the rules. Because once you have signed that you understand them, I will be expecting you to keep to them. And explain what on time means, all right? Explain to them it is not about coming through the door at 9. It is to be here early enough so that when the doors open at 9, you are at your till, you know, ready to start taking customers, or you are already, you know, in the aisles starting to restock, or whatever it is. You know, make it very clear what each rule means, Beth. And right, and I think I quite agree with you, Kerry, that, you know, I'm sure that you're nearly always early for work and late on occasion, yes, you know, and it's normally for a good reason, right? All right, so you see, I totally understand that, Beth. You know, she's saying they clock in and then go and get a drink and then take their coat off. It's just ridiculous. So explain it to them, Beth, but you don't have to be nasty. Just say, I just want to tell you what this means. It means don't come in and clock in and then take your coat off. Take your coat off and clock in when you are ready to work. That is the time you clock in, when you are ready to work. Not, well, I got inside the door and spent the next half hour answering emails, sitting in, you know, in the washroom, doing my makeup, doing whatever. And, you know, the time you clock in is when you are ready to work. That's the time. Peace is a daily, a weekly, a monthly process, gradually changing opinions, slowly eroding old barriers, and quietly building new structures. That came from John F. Kennedy. The only journey, this is on personal growth, by the way, the only journey is the journey within. How many of you can see that Beth has got a wonderful opportunity to practice peace in her workplace, to set the guidelines in a really solid way so people understand, to be, she doesn't need to be nasty. She doesn't need to crack a whip or do all sorts of things. She just needs to make sure that everybody sees that they make a choice. And it doesn't have to be aggressive. And I would use those words. I see you chose to be late again today. And I just, you know the rules. Right? Sorry to have to do this. Yeah, I'm genuinely sorry that you seem to have a problem keeping on time. Yes, and I agree, Kimmy. It's amazing the things that people do. Fearless, hope more, eat less, chew more, whine less, breathe more, talk less, say more, hate less, love more, and good things will be yours. I'm going to read that again. I think it's beautiful. Fearless, hope more, eat less, chew more, whine less, breathe more, talk less, say more, hate less, love more, and good things will be yours. That's a Swedish proverb, by the way. I think it's beautiful. How many of you can feel the difference in that? Yeah, Beth she likes to chew more. Yeah. I want to tell you something, Beth, that one of the things that I really have found from changing my eating habits, the way that we're doing that. By the way, Kerry, I've got a question for you. Just remind me to ask you the question. One of the things that I found is that I savor my food more. I don't know if anybody else, Jody, whether you're finding that, but in other words, whereas before I would have, a handful of chips or something and just, inhale them. Now I literally take a chip and enjoy it. I'm not just stuffing them in one after the other. It's like, that tastes so good, and I chew, as you say, I chew more. Yes, exactly, Nyasha. It's the same as you would with a child, right? Nyasha saying, I like that, giving somebody a warning. And then if it's taken advantage of, then the consequences come into follow, will follow. And that's right. It's like, you don't have to be nasty. And here is a quote about that from Deepak Chopra. He said, you and I are essentially infinite choice makers. Every moment of our existence, we are in that field of all possibilities where we have access to the infinity of choices. I would love to see you, Beth, in your washroom or if you have a staff room, really start putting up some great motivational quotes about choices. That I realize I choose what time I come in, except in an emergency. And, I choose whether to be happy at work or to be distracted by my life. I choose whether to smile at customers. I can remember, Beth, when I was managing a big group of people and I wanted to help them change their mentality a little. I literally would post things on the back of the bathroom, washroom door. So when they went to sit down, they were looking at it. And people said to me, I can't believe you did that. It's meant to be private time. I said, no, actually, the bathroom belongs to the company. So, but things that I wanted to make sure that they couldn't say they didn't see it. like the rules. And they couldn't tell me that they didn't know what they were, because every time they sat on the john, there they were, in front of them. Now, you have to be careful about this, Beth, because, the law might have changed and you're not allowed to do that anymore. But, to me, I took every advantage I could to remind the people that they were making choices. And good ones got rewarded in my life. Maturity includes the recognition that no one is going to see anything in us that we don't see in ourselves. Stop waiting for a producer. Produce yourself. Yes, I would say to your staff, Beth, and I used to say that to people, which is, please understand that if the job you do is so good that I cannot help but notice you because you're doing such a good job, then promotion isn't a maybe. You know what I mean? It's like you won't have to come to me and ask for a raise because I will be so keen to make sure you stay. So don't come to me and tell me that you think you need one. Give me the behavior that makes me know. The same as you did, Beth. In the job that you had, you acted like a manager. And that's why you became an assistant manager. And that's why I'm pretty sure you're going to end up a regional manager if you continue to do the work you're doing. However, remember that management is not making people do things. It is helping people do things. Yes, Nyasha, I know that. Nyasha's saying about the bathroom thing. No one can say they never saw it because going there is a must. Yeah, and that's why I knew it was the right place to put something really important. If there was a policy change or if there was something that I really, felt would be difficult for people to comprehend, I made sure two things, and this is something I did a lot of, Beth. Number one, I would put it in very simple terms everywhere I could. And the other thing was I would have them read it and then get them to explain it back to me. Explain to me what you understand from what you've just read. If it says, you will come in, you will be ready, you will work at 9 o'clock. Do you understand? Can you make sure you tell me, I understand this doesn't mean come through the door. This means be here 15 minutes early, get my coat off, get my makeup ready, do whatever I want to do so that I clock in at 9 o'clock. Yes, you want to inspire them to do better. That is what great management is. I've always said, leadership is the difference, Beth. Leadership is not a title. It's an action. You want them to be better, fun, and hardworking staff. Good. Where we work for a goal, not only our job, but our relationship with one another. Beth, all the research I ever saw and studied told me that money was never the number one reason why people worked at a job. Did you know that? You're probably going, yeah, I know that. Funny enough, money comes down quite low, like about 5. The number one reason why people stay in jobs is they enjoy the relationships. They feel like they're part of a family. They feel like people care about them. They feel that they make a difference. And so that is why I always believe, Beth, and I'm sure you will study management, as best you can. But I always believed in praise people in public, tell them off in private. Always praise them in public because it cheers everybody up. I just want to tell you, Jane, I just loved the way you walked in, got everything ready, and did X, Y, and Z. And, at 9 o'clock, you went and clocked in. It was brilliant. That is the ultimate in time management. Yes, Beth is saying, I always greet them with a big smile and say, I'm so happy to work with you on this shift. Yes, what a great thing to say to people. And here's some quotes about work, Beth. Far and away, the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. So it's not about that working where you work is the best job in the world, but you can make it the best work in the world. All right. And you can actually, what I always say to people is, the way you work tells people so much about your character. You remember what Mother Teresa said, and you might want to find that quote, Beth, that she said, she didn't look for people who were necessarily, very religious to work with her. She always said the people that she picked to help her in her ministry were people who could do anything with a good attitude, whether it was clean toilets, as you know all about, Beth, whether it was clean toilets or, scrub the floor with a toothbrush, they'd be singing away while they're doing it. They actually had joy in working. And I know that you've got people that are just turning up for the money. They're not there to enjoy the job. So part of what I used to do, Beth, is I would, when I took over a new team of people, is I would make sure I sat them down and found out what the issues were for them. All right. Find out, what it is that they don't like about the job. And then, see whether there's anything that they say that is fixable from your side. I used to be amazed that, I'd go to a team of people and I'd say, I really would love you all to succeed better than you've ever succeeded before. So I want to know from you, what do you need done? How can I help you do your jobs better? And they'd look at me and go, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, is there anything you're missing? Do you feel that you should have more tools of some way? Do you feel you should have more documentation to help you? These were normally salespeople, Beth. But, I'd find out, what did they need? And they'd go, what? And I'd go, I want to know, what do you need? And then I'd go out of my way to try and get them what they needed. And, because to me, then they have no more excuses. You asked for this, you got it. So, if it's a case of, well, I would really like to have, a longer break, you go, yeah, we all would. And I'd like Brad Pitt too. But, the truth is the company policy is only 15 minutes or whatever it is. And then just say to your staff, but it is interesting that you ask that. Would you like me to talk to the management about that and see if there's any way that they can extend it? It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but I'm prepared to talk about it. By the way, why would you want longer break times? Because when you took the job, did they not tell you how long the break was? This is not a surprise to you. You knew when you took the job, it was going to be working, this shift, and you would get 2 15-minute breaks or whatever it is. You see, what happens is people forget that they chose the job. When we really want to do what we are really meant to do, when we do what we are meant to do, money comes to us, doors open for us. We feel useful, and the work we do feels like play to us. The reason you enjoy your job, Beth, is you make it fun for you. You smile a lot. You make people happy. You know that they're going to be customers that are nasty and not fun, but you understand that's reality. Life is like that. And how many of you can make your lives a lot happier just by accepting that life is not easy all of the time, and life is not fair all of the time, but that doesn't mean it needs to affect you. Talent is cheaper than table salt. What separates the talented individual from the successful one is a lot of hard work. And that's why you will always be successful, Beth, at whatever you do, because I know that you put in 150%. And by the way, that quote came from Stephen King. Talent is cheaper than table salt. What separates the talented individual from the successful one is a lot of hard work. I am amazed how many people really do believe that you can get onto YouTube and, make $1 million in the first year. It's just like, really? Yes, Beth, because it is. Beth is saying, my work feels like I'm preparing myself for something greater. I will never settle again. I need the challenge to keep me motivated. Yes, you do. And also, Beth, it's a really great way to always be learning, right? What can you learn about the motivation of people? And you understand that people get motivated individually. If you want really successful people, Beth, find out what motivates each one of them and help them get that in their job in some way. I'll talk to you about that another day. Kerry, thank you for reminding me, honey. I appreciate that. Kerry, for those of us who have smart watches and are keeping track with you on the fitness thing, what we notice is that you always appear to have an incredible count of net calories. And I was wondering, is there something, because in order to get that many net calories, you'd probably have to walk about 30 miles a day, which I'm not sure you're doing. So I was wondering how that happens, or whether you could perhaps give us more information about what it is you're eating that comes up at these calories. Because maybe we have a lot to learn from you in terms of what you're actually putting into your body. Do you understand what I'm asking? Because, it's just like, I know you walk Dora, and I understand that, but it's like, it's just like, it seems like an incredible amount of deduction of calories. So I want to know whether I'm missing out on something. You're taking public speaking classes in the fall. I think I can excel at it, says Beth. It's my greatest fear, so I want to challenge myself. I want to tell you something, Beth, that one of the things I used to say to audiences when I was a professional speaker was, I am so glad that so many people are so scared of what I do for a living. It allows me to charge so much more. You see, what public speaking is the ability to be able to control your fear. It is the ability to be able to inspire people. It is the ability to think very quickly on your feet. And people used to say to me, Beth, I can't believe that you can stand up there without any notes and just talk for, whatever time. And I go, it's really funny, because when I first started to speak, I thought you had to take notes with you, because I'd always seen people with notes. So when I first started to speak, Beth, I actually took notes with me. And, and I literally had them on cards. And then I got bored with that, because that's not the way I think or speak. And so then I just used to take blank cards up and pretend I was talking from cards. But, it's really interesting. Beth is saying, I think I used to fake being confident. I am ready to show more people what I have to offer. Yes, I never, ever felt totally confident. And I think that's important. Yes, Kerry is saying about the net calories. Thank you, Kerry. I walk or do housework. The net calories are after I exercise. Yes, I understand that. But it appears to me that you are able, to deduct an awful lot of calories from that. So are you walking in incredible distances? Because, do you know how many steps you take in a day, for example? That would, make it more. Yes, Nyasha, well done. I'm not going to repeat what Nyasha said because I don't have her permission, but Nyasha, if you can see that, that is a major step forward. That is amazing. Just stop doing it. Just stop doing it. Stop giving that excuse. That's why whenever people gave me excuse, I would write down this week's excuse. And, you know, if it came up a second time, I'd go, hang on a second, you used that one 2 days ago, so let's have a new one. Yeah, because that one's boring already. You've used it already this week. You've used that one up. So that's, yeah. Because I just show people that they keep coming up with the same excuse when the truth is you're not getting out of bed early enough. Or you're not getting your clothes out the night before, or whatever it is, you are choosing to be late. Yes, Beth is saying she walks 11,000 steps and only burns 500 calories. That is why I'm confused. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what your watch says now. Can you do the virtual walker on TV? How do you mean? Can you project it onto your television? What are you meaning, Kimmy? All I do is I plug in the number of steps I take each day into this program, and then it plots out on my course. Exactly, Beth. And most watches allow you to adjust if you need to. What I would do, actually, Beth, which may be more relevant, is to actually put work as your exercise period. Yes, absolutely, Kim. I literally just plug in how many steps do I take every day. I couldn't go out because of the snow, but I still kept putting in how many steps am I taking. And I have shown that I've walked over 100 miles since we started this. Exactly, Kimmy. That was my issue as well. So this is not about an extra 100 miles. I am just literally taking track of how many miles do I walk. And since we started on December the 20th, I have walked 100 miles. Now, Beth probably does that in a week. But I don't want to judge myself against Beth because that would not be fair to me, right? But Beth, the whole thing is that, I'm trying to beat myself, not anybody else. I'm in competition with myself. Yes, so you don't have to go out. If you have a way of monitoring how many steps you take, I want to tell you something. Jody can't walk. Jody literally does arm rolls, and it has helped her lose weight. Your resting heart rate is 92. Beth, the question, is that bad, is a question you need to talk to your doctor about. I am not a doctor. What I can tell you is that my resting heart rate average is about high 50s, low 60s. But I am not running around like an Energizer bunny. But it used to be much higher, much higher. And what I've done is, with the reduction of stress, yes, yours goes down to about 56 at night. So what do you think, Beth? Do you think 92 is a bit high? Hi, Angie. Good to see you. So the question is, if you want to lower your resting heart rate, Kemi, sorry, if you want to lower your resting heart rate, you would need to stop more often. If you've got the 2-minute relaxation on your watch, I'm pretty sure you probably have that, because I do. Do that more often. Actually take the time to stop and breathe. That will all help bring your resting heart rate down. Kimmy's coming up with a wonderful excuse here. I would go for a walk at the recreation center, but it's expensive. Don't go there. Don't go to the recreation center. Go to the mall. Walk the mall. It's free, and it's it has air conditioning or heating, whatever you need. You can walk inside. Just don't buy anything. Yes, exactly, Beth. I would agree with you. You're saying, Beth is saying, I think I'm an Energizer bunny during the day. I need to breathing exercises during the day. You've done that exercise with me, right, Beth? No more. Okay, so literally, all right, let's get some ideas from people. You have no mall that you can visit, a strip mall even, where you can just walk, the view of a strip mall, where most of it is covered. In other words, you don't have to go to an exercise place. Just saying that, being outside makes you sick. So let's think. There you go, Beth. Beth's saying that she's got an app on her Apple Watch that sets a breathing timer every 2 hours. Yes. And I've got one on mine. I can choose when to turn it on. So my attitude is, Kim, don't. I understand you live in a very small town. So do they have a school? Do they have? I'm trying to think, if you lived in a small town, I go to church, walk up and down the aisle in church. So to me, this is like, you literally can do these steps. I've got a 10 by 12 rug. I have had days where I literally walked round and round that rug to make up my steps. Yes. Kimmy, do you live in an apartment or do you live in a house? And is is it 2-story or 1-story? My house is 2-story. So I make sure that I try and get in at least 5 trips downstairs and back up again every day, especially when the weather's bad. Right? I want to do at least 5 lots of steps. If you wanted to, okay, so you're not allowed inside the school. All right, but your apartment, how many rooms is it? Is it just a 1 room or is it 2 or 3 rooms? You see, there are days when I literally walk around my house, and I literally will walk around my bedroom, and then I will go to my living room and I'll walk around that 3 or 4 times, and then I'll walk up and down my dining room, living room area 3 or 4 times. I'll walk around my kitchen 3 or 4 times, and literally you don't have to make an excuse if you want to do it. Do any of you understand what I'm saying? That the excuse is the easy thing, the reasons why I can't do it. Remember what I said to you all. I don't want to talk about what I can't do. I want to find out what I can do. All right, so you live in a house and you do walk up and down stairs, right? So if you live in a house, start making that your gym. All right. And this is about, okay, I literally would start saying to yourself, I actually time how much time I can sit down for during the day. There's a walk program I do on YouTube for the house. Excellent. There you go. All right. So do you understand what I'm saying about, let's forget about the excuses. The same thing as Nyasha realized, she keeps giving the same excuses. Just, give up that excuse. Just say to yourself, I'm not interested in the excuse anymore. So the fact that I can't go up because there was snow on the ground and it could be dangerous for me, that doesn't excuse you from getting in your steps. So how are you going to do it? Do you understand the different mentality, Kimmy? And by the way, Jody cannot do the steps. All right, so you aspire, Kerry, you must be walking a lot more than a mile a week in your everyday to burn the calories that you're showing. You must be walking about 30 miles a week minimum. Because as Beth says, you appear to be dropping off 1,000 calories a day. And that would be about 20,000 steps. Am I right, Beth? I think 10,000 is 500. So anyway, so that's what I'm saying. All you do is you plug in the number of steps you've taken. Kimmy, Jody just puts in the number of arm rolls she's done. All right, she can't walk. That's a heart. But she won't quit. And you know the interesting thing is, Kimmy, Jody will tell you she is dropping weight and the circulation is coming back with her lymphoderma. She can start feeling her toes again, and she is literally doing arm rolls. How many do you do, Jody? Now listen to this for a great quote. To exist, to change is to mature. To mature is to go on creating yourself endlessly. Jody, if I had told you 2 months ago that you would be able to do 500 arm rolls a day consistently, would you have laughed at me? Kimmy, it depends on how old you are and what your ability is, in terms of your physical ability. Yes, Beth, and that's why I refuse to judge myself by you. Beth is saying she's already worked 115.764 miles steps, within this month. So I just look at Beth and smile, and go, okay, there's the Energizer Bunny. I'm only in competition with myself. Jody is only in competition with herself, with her arm rolls. All right. She is not trying to beat my miles. She is trying to beat herself. Yes, Jody, you would have said that I needed a head check. I agree. But look at what you've done. I am so proud of you. You have shown that, by the way, is your doctor impressed? That's why I want you to find out if Kerry is doing something over and above just, going to work and coming back again. Because something told me that she's burning up a lot of calories every day, and I want to know how she's doing it. It's like, tell me the secret. You do leg and arm exercises, okay? So, those sort of things there, so what you do is everything counts as far as I'm concerned. All right, so Beth is saying that 115,000 calories burns up 2,906 calories for the month. All right, so that's what I'm saying. So that's what I think. I think it's something like, I don't have my calculator with me. So how many steps do you need to do to burn up 100 calories? And that's why I'm trying to find out what is happening with Kerry, because she obviously has a tracker because she sends us the information. But somehow or other, I've got a feeling that tracker might be set differently. this is what Stephen Covey said. Stephen Covey said, you have to decide what your highest priorities are and have the courage, pleasantly, smilingly, non-apologetically, to say no to other things. And the way to do that is by having a bigger yes burning inside. Okay, Nolene, we're about to stop anyway. All the best. Yes, so how many of you can feel that? It's like, only you can make these choices. Only you have these choices. Nobody else is forcing you to do anything. Nobody else is interested in your excuses. Because the reality is, if you want to do it, you will, as Jody has proven. Yes, Jody's saying they mentioned last month they were very happy with my improvement and to keep it up, because I know to be smart and not to do it to the point of pain or when I'm having a flare-up. But those days I modify. Bye-bye, Nolene. Yes, exactly. And so, Jody, that is the same thing as I am aware that they're going to have some days that I'm not as good at looking after myself as others. And I'm okay with that. I don't, I just was aware. And, one of the things I remember reading, have any of you done the Course of Miracles? But one of the things that I always love about the Course of Miracles, it really hammers in the fact that there are no good things and bad things. They are just things. So I was really aware, Jody, yesterday, that my body was, for some reason, calling for carbs. Now, it's interesting that Beth says, was it in fact calling for liquid? And what I may do next time I feel that, Beth, and it's a very good question, is to make something like this. This is a mixture of fruit and vegetables. And maybe the clever thing to do is to make a bottle of, a bottle full of fruit and vegetable stuff and drink that instead of carbs, and see, it's high in calories in some ways because it is fruit, but maybe better. A year from now, you will wish you started today. How many of you can feel that? It's like, I really have to say that it's been, it's 2 months now, all right, that I've been changing my habits. And I can actually feel the difference. I have to say that I can actually feel the difference. I don't feel like I'm going to run a marathon or anything. So, but I can feel the difference. I can feel it in certain things when I'm doing things. The other thing is, did I tell you guys about the back thing that I bought? I bought a really strange thing for my back that I thought was absolutely a waste of money, but you're going to get it anyway, it's because it's a gizmo. And boy, have I found a difference using that. And I really should actually do a video on it so you guys can see it. Nyasha, we don't know, you would need to tell us how tall you are for us to be able to know whether that is overweight. So if you can tell us how tall you are, we can do the math and let you know. Do you know that there are charts that you can get online that you just literally look at how tall you are, and it'll tell you what your ideal rate is. That's what Google's for, Beth. If you put the 180 kg into into Google, it'll tell you. Oh, maybe you got a chart there. Hang on a second. Let's do it quickly. So 100, and we need to know your height. 180. Oh gosh, I can't type today. No, it's kg. Pounds. Sounds like that's nearly 400 pounds. Are you sure it was kg? You know, I think you'll probably find it was yeah, it's 396 pounds. That would be very, very overweight. So just make sure you find out whether that was pounds. What's for dinner, Kerry? Today, I decided today was the day to have, we haven't had mac and cheese for a long time, Kerry. So I'm doing mac and cheese with ham. So the ham can balance out some of the carbs for me. And the trick is to only have a cupful or two at the most. And then have, you know, a decent amount of ham to balance out the carbs. Yeah, party at, hello, Lauren. Party at Sal's, indeed. All right, so everybody, for all of you who are struggling with medical issues, or you have family members struggling with medical issues, try and stay in the present. Be grateful for every day that they have with you, and try, if you can, to just know that it is what it is, and worrying yourself sick about it is not going to make it any better. Yes, and Beth saying, remember to have veggies as well. I've got a salad, actually, Beth, that I've made up that I'm going to consume. How many of you are going to watch the Oscars, by the way? I've already made lots of little fruit-type snack boxes of the stuff that I can have while I'm watching the Oscars. Kimmy's saying she's lost between 116 and 120. You've stopped doing the yo-yo. That's an incredible amount of weight, Kimmy. Oh, that is wonderful. Lauren's saying that her sister is home. Her sister ended up back in hospital again with one of those migraine things. So that's great. As you said yesterday, Lauren, that it must help that they now know what she keeps having, right? So that they are able to treat her better. Yes, I would think that maybe it's 180 pounds, not kilograms. And I don't know, do you know how tall you are, Nyasha? Yes, I believe it will take me a couple of years to lose my weight, and I am prepared to give myself that time. Yes, Lauren, exactly. You're right. And I thought that was very wise what you said about the fact that the hospital now knows that she has these migraines. However, there's part of me that goes, they probably still need to check so they don't accidentally treat her for a migraine when she actually is having something more serious. Now, don't get me wrong, the migraines, the way that she has them, are pretty darn serious. We know that. I believe so too, Beth. Thank you. Beth, I don't know if you saw it, but you know, the whole thing that I really was proud of myself for was the fact that I had put on the weight so fast last year, and look at this. Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, so try again. Helps if I don't touch it. Try not to touch it, but that's not easy with the tablet. But I don't know if you can see how quickly it went up, and then now how I'm taking it off. Can you see that? Okay, so Nash is saying it is 108 kilograms. Okay. Yes, Beth, I realized what I needed with a lifestyle change, not a diet. And with the help of you, and I can't thank you enough, Beth, you have no idea how much impact you've had on my life. And Jody and Lauren, it's just amazing. I just keep making these little changes, and I have a little oops, and I go, I can do this. I just need to get back on control. So Kimmy's saying she stopped eating gluten and cut back on sugar. I've stopped sugar for the large part and take stevia. And what I'm doing now is I am buying gluten-free flour. I'm going to use up the flour that I have first. By the way, that is part of my thing, is I'm busy still using up stuff that I had that I will continue to use up until I've used them. All right, so Nyasha, so 108, hang on a second. I'm going to do the math on that. I can't do that in my head. 108 kg. That is about my weight. I'm a little bit less than you. Do you know how tall you are? Yeah, we keep asking how tall you are. Because you understand, I am actually quite tall, and I'm also have always been a pretty solid build. I've never been, I actually did make a size 10 once in my life, but I think it was for moments. And literally, I made it to size 10, and then but I'm what they call big boned. I was athletic, and I did things like discus and stuff like that. So I'm what they call big boned. I'm not just tall. I'm also big boned. So that you're a short individual. Okay, there you go. So you understand that me at 108 is very different from, and I'm nearly 5'8" on a good day. So that makes me fairly tall. But if you're 5 foot nothing, that is much heavier. All right. So do you understand what I'm saying? Now I'm obese. All right. I am now 223 pounds, something, I think. I am obese at that weight, at 5'7". So if you're anything under 5'7" and 10 pounds heavier than me, you are obese, but going in the right direction. And the funny thing is, the work that you do probably will help you lose weight if you do it with a lot of energy. If you actually change your mentality and see your work as an exercise program, you could probably lose quite a bit of weight doing your work. All right, guys, I've got to go. I'm already late. So this is DearMamaSal saying to you that be kind to each other, please. For all of you struggling, as I said, with very difficult health news, try the best you can to look after yourselves. For those of you who are aware that I'm going to get the news about my CAT scan this week, I am doing everything I can to stay in the rightful place with this until I hear otherwise. And I will hear that on Tuesday, so I will update you guys as when I know. So big hugs to everybody, and remember to look after one another, but most of all, please, please, please do look after yourself. Don't be in competition with Beth. Don't be in competition with me. Just literally try and do better for yourself, because if you don't do it for yourself, you will never do it. Thank you, Niasha. I appreciate that. So everybody, for those of you who are doing the steps every day or the arm rolls or whatever, thank you so much for your support. You have no idea how much having you do this journey with me really motivates me. I actually, Sunday night is the night that I will go and check on everybody and see how they're doing. So keep doing what you're doing. I do look at it and I do smile and go, isn't that wonderful that they're doing that? Thanks, Kimmy. I appreciate that. So everybody, I'm off to go and enjoy my make my mac and cheese and then enjoy it and enjoy the Oscars. I hope your favorite movie wins and your favorite actor or actresses win. And I hope we all love the dresses. I'm certain we'll like some of them. This is Dear Mama Sal going. Big hugs, everybody, and bye-bye for now.